Friends, it's the spooky season when all the little ghouls and goblins come out to scare you. Oh, I'm not talking about Halloween, although Halloween is also very quickly approaching. No, today I'm talking about the UN Climate Change Conference, and it takes place at the end of the month in Glasgow. Now, you might see this globalist shindig referred to as COP26. That's the conference of the parties, the 26th iteration of it. And it's where all the fancy people from all around the world get together behind closed doors, behind security barriers and walls to decide how you, the little people, how you're going to live your life, how much more expensive it's going to get, and how much you need to tithe of your hard-earned money to the Church of Mother Earth to be a good dues-paying congregant in their little doomsday cult. Between 30 and 50,000 climate change activists, bureaucrats, and politicians, and I say that as though they are distinct groups, but, you know, the Venn diagram of those three groups is more like a circle. Anyway, all these people every year converge on a city around the world, except for last year because of what they keep telling me is a real existential threat, you know, COVID, that caused them to cancel their party. Now, these people all engage in transcontinental airline travel to go to a conference that could very easily be held via Zoom to tell you that driving your SUV to take your kids to hockey or soccer practice is the reason they think the earth is dying. And we also only have 12 years or 10 years or 5 years left, or whatever the latest doomsday timeline is offered to us by teenage climate scolds who've never held a real job or paid a tax or done without anything. Now, not one to miss a chance to tell the world what an environmentalist he truly is, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is also on his way to Glasgow too. Take a look at this globe-trotting itinerary. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today announced that he will travel to Europe for a bilateral visit to the Netherlands before participating in the Group of 20, or the G20 Leaders Summit in Italy, and the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP26, in the United Kingdom. Boy, that's a lot of travel. The Prime Minister will travel to The Hague, Netherlands, on October 29th, 2021, where he will meet with Prime Minister Mark Rutte and other Dutch representatives to discuss both countries' shared priorities and to further the strong ties between Canada and the Netherlands. Oh, then, we're not done. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will then travel to Rome, Italy, October 30th to 31st, to attend the G20 Leaders Summit. The Prime Minister will highlight Canada's contributions to the global COVID-19 pandemic response and economic recovery, including support for low and middle income countries, not Canadian low and income families. Anyways, he will also highlight Canada's ambitious actions to cut pollution while creating new middle-class jobs and accelerating the transition to clean energy. Oh, he's doing that, is he? Following the G20 Leaders Summit, Prime Minister Trudeau will travel to Glasgow, United Kingdom, from November 1st to 2nd, 2021, to participate in COP26. That's the UN Climate Change Conference. They just like to use that fancy acronym for some reason. At COP26, the Prime Minister will work with other leaders to accelerate global climate action to reduce pollution and meet targets outlined in the Paris Agreement while creating economic growth for everyone. He's not going to do that. At the conference, he will also highlight Canada's leadership in the fight against climate change. This includes setting a strengthened 2030 emissions reduction target, putting a price on pollution, passing legislation to require net zero emissions by 2050, and doubling people Canada's financial contribution to support climate action in developing countries. Those are a lot of expensive promises he's making with your money at his big trip to Europe. Now, maybe while Trudeau's in Glasgow, he can find that stressed out little Greta Thunberg, and he could tell Greta about his favorite grown-up way to fight climate change. Remember this?
What do you and your family do to cut back on plastics?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of a plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles.
But All this unnecessary travel to a series of international fancy people parties across much of Europe, well, it all flies in the face of recommendations from Trudeau's own health minister, Patty Hajdu, who thankfully is no longer the health minister as of this week, but apparently her recommendations are all still in place for, us, the little people. Take a listen.
And I'll remind Canadians that as annoying as it is, and I think everybody is looking forward to a hot holiday, but some Canadians even want to travel because they haven't seen family in a very long time, that we still have travel advisories in place recommending that people don't travel unless it's absolutely necessary.
Never forget, Trudeau's travel to a useless virtue signaling conference of control freaks and worrywarts and teenage climate hypochondriacs, well, it's all way more important than you getting to see your family on Thanksgiving and his transcontinental travel carbon footprint. Just the cost of doing business, the business of controlling every single aspect of your life. And friends, business is good. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Did you know that YouTube has completely demonetized any content or creator that questions the contribution of your comfortable SUV to global warming? It's true. I think it's only a matter of time before they censor that content altogether, just shut them down on the platform, and that'll happen to me. Now, if you want to stay in touch with us when the inevitable happens and YouTube kicks us off the platform altogether, just go to rebelnews.com. There's a little pop-up there on the landing page, and you can leave your address or your phone number, and it's a way for us to stay in contact with you and let you know that I probably got our YouTube channel killed forever. Anyway, it's real easy. rebelnews.com. We won't sell your information. We just want to be able to stay in touch.